Okay, concentrate. Open windows. Open windows. Open windows! This week on Click, the machines that read our thoughts and our faces. We'll find out how we might be controlling and interacting with our computers in the future. We'll ask if virtual reality can help beat discrimination. And we'll take a spin in the car that chooses tunes to match your driving. We'll also have the latest tech news, and we'll help you curate your own personal museum in Webscape. The way we communicate with our devices has changed radically in the past decade. No need to type complex commands into your QWERTY keyboard anymore. Even the mouse is becoming an endangered species. These days, we touch our smartphone screens, swipe our tablets, we wave at our consoles and play games just by jumping about. We can even talk to them. Yep, machines are getting a whole lot smarter at interacting with us on our terms. Welcome to Click, I'm Spencer Kelly, and welcome to the Human-Computer Interaction Lab at Bristol University, where researchers are already working on what comes next. It's a computer display that floats in the air, one of several projects we've seen around the world to project images onto a curtain of mist, turning it into a hovering screen. It's touch sensitive too, of a sort. A leap motion detector tracks your fingers and allows you to drag things around and even rotate them. The suggestion here is that several people each have their own personal mist screen and work collaboratively, dragging objects to and from a central flat display. There's a lot of research into human-computer interaction making waves around the world. LJ Rich has been in search of some of it, and she started in the bathroom.
Traditionally, water and electricity don't mix. It's why I don't take my iPad in the bath. However, researchers here at Koike Labs have come up with a way to interact with your technology without worrying about getting it wet. Well, I'll show you.
This is called the Aquatop display, proving there's more to user interface than just talk and touch. Of course, there is quite a bit of kit beneath that fanfare of lights, sound and splashing. First, a projector shines an image onto the water's surface. Right now, clear water doesn't work anywhere near as well as this opaque bath salt solution. Next, a Microsoft Kinect camera detects what shape I'm making with my hands. Finally, a computer takes the raw data and uses it to control the game. Those fountains are actually waterproofed speakers. The plan is to bring this to market in the next few years. Certainly, it would make bath time even more fun than it is already.
I think this is one of the characteristics of Japanese people. There's a strong Japanese bathing culture where we enjoy bathing for a long time in a deep bath. By using this Aquatop display at the same time as bathing, we hope that people abroad will find how relaxing bathing in a tub can be.
There's certainly something pleasing about interacting with virtual things in the physical world. Even in this, the first version of the display, I loved the feeling of picking up my pictures and dropping them back into the water. Playing with this interface left me wanting more from the rest of my tech. Happily, I'm not alone. There's a whole branch of research dedicated to how we interact with machines, called Human-Computer Interaction. Here's one example of research in this area, the Inform machine from MIT's Tangible Media Labs. An incredibly intricate device consisting of 900 moving blocks plus the engineering to control them. How they move depends on what's happening in front of this Kinect camera. The machine translates those hands waving onto the matrix of blocks, allowing this ball to be moved, potentially from anywhere in the world. Things can be moved by anything. Now, obviously, the prototype isn't quite portable yet, but they're working on it.
These mobile devices will become shape-changing user interfaces. So as opposed to just the pictures on the screen changing, the physical form could change as well. And we built this system here in Form to prototype some of those interactions with shape-changing user interfaces.
Those shape-changing interfaces might be a while off, but if you're first to predict how human interaction might evolve, there's clearly going to be money in it. And there's no shortage of companies taking an interest. Like Fujitsu, its prototype projects images onto real-world items like maps and brochures. And Sharp are experimenting with the concept of home appliances appearing to be pleased to see us. Imagine that washing machine over there, ecstatic at the mere thought of being filled with dirty laundry. OK, while this might be a little too intimate for some, the happy appliance concept does indicate one possible direction, a more emotional take on user interfaces. Take this software. It's been around for a while. It recognises facial expressions. As a user interface, though, it could connect to the heating system and turn up the temperature when you're sad. Thing is, why stop there? Facial expressions are, to an extent, under the conscious control of the user. So it's not much of a leap for machines to read and analyse unconscious signals like brainwaves. In fact, Japanese company Neuroware made these wearable cat ears that do exactly that. The ears perk up when certain brainwave patterns are detected. Their new concept device aims to give our brain control of a video recorder without your pesky conscious thoughts getting in the way. Reach a certain level of excitement and bam, your device will automatically remember it for you wholesale. The potential for human-computer interaction is huge enough to be funded by both companies and academic research. But assuming we nail the technical details, there's one more thing to deal with. Any progress depends on just how much we're prepared to merge with the machine.
LJ Rich with some pretty amazing looking interfaces. Makes our touchscreen phones look rather obsolete, doesn't it? Now we'll have more from the lab here a bit later, but first up, a look at this week's tech news. Potty-mouthed Xbox One users who post video clips to its upload studio that include swearing are finding their Xbox Live accounts have been suspended, or that access to some features has been restricted by Microsoft. The profanity-averse tech giant has made the move in what it says is an attempt to maintain a clean, safe and fun environment for all users. Is it bad news that there's no swearing in games? A study carried out by the American Psychological Association has claimed that playing computer games has many positive effects on children, and that in some cases, the more violent the game, the more beneficial the effect. The report also stated that certain types of game can help kids learn problem-solving skills and creativity. The United Nations Human Rights Committee has unanimously voted to protect the human right of privacy against unlawful surveillance. The symbolic resolution follows reports of American eavesdropping on foreign leaders. It was sponsored by Brazil and Germany, both countries that have had their leaders spied on. And if you have ever been kept awake at night wondering what the US president would look like in animated form, then your dream day has finally arrived. President Obama was on a tour of the DreamWorks animation studio in California when he was confronted by an alien who had a very familiar voice.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Welcome to the White House.
Not a bad performance, but I don't think he'll be troubling the Academy Awards just yet. We often talk about gadgets that can change the way we go about our lives. But how many of them can actually change the way that we think? A recent study into innate or ingrained racism in white people has found that spending just 10 minutes in a particular virtual world can actually change the way that they view people with different coloured skin. But can virtual reality really cure racism? Melissa Hogenboom has been to Barcelona to find out.
What do you see when you look at these faces? We might not want to hear it, but in this multicultural world, scientists say many of us continue to have an inbuilt racial bias. They call it implicit racism. It may be unconscious, but it skews our judgments and decisions all the time. The result could be discrimination. It could sometimes be worse. Now a team at the University of Barcelona are exploring how technology could help people overcome this implicit racism. Participants were put into a simple virtual world where their body movements were tracked using a motion capture suit. But the body they had in this world had dark skin. This virtual world may look simple, but scientists say it has a massive impact when you're in it, and I want to experience it myself. I'm not an ideal participant in this experiment because I knew what it was all about, so at the start I very much noticed that my skin was dark. But now the longer I've been in the environment, it doesn't really come into it anymore. I sort of look at myself and she moves when I move, but now it just feels more like me. It doesn't really matter what colour my skin is.
When we embodied light-skinned people in a dark virtual body, their implicit racial bias decreased. The type of body you have seems to actually influence how you behave, what your thoughts are, and so on. It may be used to actually help people who have these kind of implicit biases to recognise they have them, but also to reduce them. But also it can be used for various kinds of rehabilitation to give people experiences, empathic experiences that they can never have.
The virtual world scientists are now building are becoming ever more responsive and realistic. It's also getting cheaper to do. The team here use a Unity 3D game system, combined with the much-hyped Oculus Rift head-mounted display.
This is certainly causing a stir in the technical world. How will the kind of work we're doing be put on a mass scale? I think the most likely way is that it's embedded in games.
While its use outside the lab may be some way off, scientists are finding interesting ways to use this technology to explore and modify behaviour.
I'm sorry, I'll finish my pint and then I'll go, okay?
In one experiment, football fans were put into a pub where a fight was starting.
Well, take your pint and off. Why?
They found that supporters were more likely to break it up if someone who supported their own team was involved.
I'm not gonna
take the shirt
Calm
off.
calm down. What's going on here?
Just
Told me
what
to
have I
leave.
done? You on me.
Scientists say there's still a long way to go, but what's clear is that virtual reality provides a stepping stone towards better empathy with others in the real world.
Melissa Hergenboom looking at the technology that's trying to teach us to be a bit more understanding. Meanwhile, back here at the lab, it's time for a game of virtual bat and ball. But the weird thing is, I can actually feel the ball. The problem with controlling our devices using gestures, pushing virtual buttons and handling virtual objects is that your fingers don't actually connect with anything in the air. That is, unless you use this device. It uses ultrasound to make a particular point in space vibrate. If your finger happens to be there, you can feel a weird buzzing sensation at a tiny point on your skin. This does feel a little odd, I grant you. It doesn't really feel like there's anything solid between my fingers, but when I pinch the right spot in the air, it kind of feels like someone's blowing the tips of my fingers through a straw. That's strange. The team behind this phased array of ultrasound transducers, always wanted to say that, hopes to do more than just create a buzz. In the future, you may be able to feel different temperatures, different materials, and even pain. As the head of the lab, Professor Mike Fraser explained.
There's an established language or grammar for using multi-touch interfaces, pinching and zooming and scrolling, and we would like to establish a similar or related vocabulary for the ways that people feel their devices.
For example, something is wet, something is dangerous.
Yeah, the idea that I could feel this and it would tell me some information. I could feel what was happening in a tennis game, or I could understand how the Grand Prix was going by
feel
virtue
the spin on the ball, or
absolutely
the grip
spin
of the
on the
tyres.
ball, or the grip on the friction on the road. That kind of thing would be fantastic.
Okay, Professor Mike Fraser, thank you very much for your time. Now, there's one machine that many of us interact with on a daily basis, and depending on traffic, it's not always a pleasant experience. But Lara Lewington has taken a car for a spin that wants to sing you a song.
Imagine your car as a musical instrument with music like this, created by your journey. That's what the Play the Road experience does.
The app composes music based on my driving, so speed, steering and even where I am makes a difference to the sound I get to listen to.
A series of musical constructs or assets have been created by electronic music band Underworld. The app uses data taken from the engine management system to mix these together. Revs per minute, your speed and the phone's accelerometer and GPS data all play their part in conducting the orchestra. The idea is that the music actually flows like music.
The purpose of Play the Road was to re-examine our relationship between music and driving. Everyone has driving experiences where there's been the perfect song on the radio to match your drive, and it's that moment that we wanted to emulate and re-examine.
I don't know what it is about this music, it keeps making me jump. And as I'm not that confident in the car, the combination is not feeling very good.
The app isn't available for consumer release, but the technology is being considered as something that could appeal to car manufacturers in the future. And if you were worried about it encouraging you to put your foot on the gas, well, it isn't as simple as the faster you drive, the faster the music gets.
In the development process, we looked at a number of changes in the music. Some are subtle, some are less subtle. We've got scene changes which deal with, big changes in music. But the subtle changes were there to maintain the integrity of the music.
I'm not finding the app quite as reactive to my driving as I expected it to be. It's fun, but the music isn't varying that much.
But that was when I was driving. When the professional took me for a spin, the experience was pretty different. Aside from the adrenaline rush, the music was more intense and more changeable. Still, I'm not sure it'll replace even my dodgy music collection anytime soon.
Lara Lewington, and I can confirm that Lara's music collection consists solely of Robbie Williams and songs that are more than 4 decades old. And talking of questionable artistic tastes, Kate Russell has an interesting site that lets you curate your favourite museum and gallery pieces from around the world. Here comes Webscape.
Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and grey.
Now, I'm not suggesting you should go around throwing ancient relics out, but if you want to pick and choose which cultural treasures to keep, the Google Art Project has just the tool for you. Search by keyword, collections, artist, or explore galleries curated by other users, or create your own collection. New digital exhibits are being launched all the time, like this week's release of a series celebrating Spain's influence on the USA over the past half millennia.
What you tried to say to me.
Scroll through beautiful images in full screen glory, and when you see something you like, you can click straight through to the museum or gallery page where you can browse through the rest of the exhibits there are listed.
If you are lucky enough to be planning a trip, the site links to a map so you can see where the host museum or gallery is for each piece. It also links to their official websites for more information and details of what else they have on show.
But I could have told you, Vincent, this world was never meant for one as beautiful as you.
People run for all sorts of reasons. To keep fit, to compete, so that they can eat more cake. Even walking is great exercise. So find an inspiring route with the help of walkjogrun.net.
I like the way
Whether you're looking for a gentle 2-mile stroll or a hardcore half-marathon jog, just plumb in your desired distance and browse dozens of options near where you are.
There are nearly 2 million routes listed right across the globe, contributed by users. As well as the web tool, you can download the iPhone app, which uses GPS to guide and track you on a route. It's not free, but it is definitely a very useful download if you like to go walking or running when you travel somewhere new.
Once selected, you can use the phone's GPS to follow the map, ensuring you don't get lost. There are training plans if you're preparing for a race or want to shoot for a fitness goal. They have also recently added dog-friendly routes for those who like to run with a furry companion.
Look, he's crawling up my wall.
While you're out and about, why not make yourself useful by downloading the Project Noah app on iOS and Android? This ambitious initiative wants to harness the power of the crowd to explore and document wildlife in its natural habitat right across the globe.
The project is backed by National Geographic, using the latest technology to encourage a new generation of nature lovers to go out and explore the world around them. In the process, the information they collect and feed back to the website will play a really important part in helping conservationists protect global biodiversity.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
This Sunday is Advent Sunday, the official start of the countdown to Christmas. You don't have to celebrate the holiday to take advantage of Advent 2013 25 Christmas apps. Just download on your iPhone or Android handset to get a top-notch premium family-friendly app free every day until the 25th of December.
Toys in every store.
And for the scientist in your life, from the 1st of December, the Royal Institution is running an Advent calendar on its website that picks up the theme of this year's Christmas lecture, Life Fantastic, to reveal a new video each day about the chromosomes in our cells and how they help make up who we are.
Kate Russell, and if you ask her nicely, she will give you the genetic sequence for Christmas pudding. Now, all of Kate's links are available at our website if you missed them. bbc.co.uk/click is the address. And if you'd like to get in touch about anything you've seen today, please do email click@bbc.co.uk. You'll also find us on Twitter, Google+, and Facebook. That's it from the lab, though. I'm off to invent something dangerous. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Oops.